Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and tonight we're diving headfirst into the Captain Marvel update to basically do all of the stuff right at the beginning. I'm super excited. I've never actually done this type of video before since I started YouTube like almost 3-4 years ago. So yeah, it's a first time for me. So we recharged our crystals. We're gonna be getting all the characters. We're gonna be unlocking all the uniforms, and then we're going to be going through and I'm gonna be reacting and kind of analyzing everything so you can see how I go about assessing characters, assessing uniforms, assessing upgrades, and then making, you know, more detailed decisions based on those ideas, and also checking out the legendary battle and everything else. And of course, all of the information I've gathered so far, in addition to what I've been hearing from people, will also be, I'll try to mention as much of it as I can during the video. So we're going to start off, we're going to just pull this chest really quickly, speed character. Okay, so we're going to start off by unlocking the 3 new characters, Minerva, Nick Fury, and Korath. Now, Korath is going to be available from the event shop as well as Ronin. Both of these characters' bios can be gotten for 20 for 80 tokens. Personally, my reaction to this event shop is that I think the bios are overpriced because both of these characters are available through regular biometric selectors that you can get when you purchase other things in the shop or you play Shadowland. Ronin can also be acquired from Dimension Rift, so he's very easy to get. And I personally much prefer the energy and the hidden tickets, but if you have extra tokens at the end, definitely hitting up, you know, at least 20 biometrics of Korath to unlock the character absolutely makes sense. But because both Korath and Minerva are available through biometric selectors, and I'll show you guys what I mean. So if you pull a regular combat selector from your, you know, daily box that you get for free, you can absolutely select Minerva. She's available there. And then if you get a speed one, as I just got, because I pretty much have them all here, because I recently jumped up to VIP 16, if you get a speed one, you can select Korath. So they're both available there, Nick Fury being the only non-free-to-play character. So I'm just going to use this 50 selector on Korath to unlock him at 1 star. Yes, we want to do that. We want to discover this character, and then we're going to do the same thing for Minerva. In Minerva's case, I'm just going to scroll down to find another 50 selector, and I'm also going to get Minerva. Now, getting these characters at 1 star is great, but of course you ultimately want to get them to 6 stars, and then they really come into their own in terms of damage output at tier 2. We all know that. But because they're both available as free-to-play characters from biometric selectors, it is recommended that you use biometric selectors or you farm for them through whatever kind of quests are available or event tokens, rather than using rank up tickets. The rank up tickets should be used on more premium characters that either aren't available from selectors or only available from selectors, or in Nick Fury's case, only available by paying real money. So in Nick Fury's case, the easiest way to get him and the quickest way to get him is to get the biometric subscription, which costs $10 US, which I just activated, and then he will show up as one of the exclusive characters as well as a bunch of other characters, and then you can unlock him at 1 star. And this is basically what I do every update. I get the if there is a premium character, I unlock them through these means. Yes, I do want to find Nick Fury, the OG, the new Nick Fury with the patch, the Nicholas Joseph Fury, and then I go about ranking up the character. Now, just to save time, instead of using all of these rank up tickets, you know, 2 through 6, I'm just going to use this mega rank up ticket because it saves a few clicks and saves some time on the video for more important things. So now we have a 6-star Nick Fury. Now in my case, I also have an additional tier 2 mega advancement ticket because I got one from the Captain Marvel relay. So I'm also going to be using this on Nick Fury, and this is the best time to use it on this character because I basically don't have to do anything. I'll immediately have a tier 2 maxed out. Not maxed out in terms of their gear, but maxed out in terms of their, well, their gear, yes, but I mean, like, they don't have an obelisk or an ISO 8 set, but they'll have 20 gears, mastery, level 60, and this is the quickest and also the most expensive, but the quickest way to get a tier 2 Nick Fury if that is what you're looking to do. So I've just kind of bypassed everything, and I've avoided all of the, you know, kind of RNG of rolling gears and waiting day by day, collecting 20 biometrics every single day, and I've just kind of fast forwarded to the end of that process so that we can check out the character in a little bit more depth in a later video. However, there is an additional way to get Nick Fury, at least at 6 stars tier 1, and that is through the extreme portion. I believe it's from the extreme portion, or it may be from the normal portion of the legendary battle. Now, when you start the legendary battle, if you don't already have Captain Marvel, it will offer you a free 6-star Captain Marvel, so that is a way to do that. It's not offering me because I already have her. But then if you purchase the Extreme Battle, I believe it will offer you, for the same number of crystals, 2,500 crystals, it will offer you a 6-star Nick Fury as well as 2 million gold. So that is another way for, you know, basically a Stark Stash's worth of crystals, which is $5 for the month, to get Nick Fury at 6 stars. That'll be a tier 1 Nick Fury, but he'll be Nick Fury nonetheless. But I'm going to be getting this. I'm going to be purchasing the Extreme Pack so that we can check out the rewards that you can get and so that we can analyze whether this is a worthwhile purchase. Because when you go into normal mode, you can check out what the different requirements are and what the different purchases are. And I'm actually just looking at this for the first time, so this all seems pretty straightforward. These rewards are a little bit weak. I wish this was fully awakened, but it's not bad. This one requires Nick Fury for, yeah, you get a 50 biometric selector, which is honestly worse than 700,000 gold. So it's actually funny. They will give you more of a reward for just having Nick Fury versus having him at tier 2. The rewards here for getting his uniform built up are honestly not very good either, so I don't think that's a big worry. And then for Final Judgment, it's revolving around Ronin, and also not really, yeah, 50 biometric selectors, honestly nothing special. However, for the Extreme Battle, I have heard that things get a little bit more dicey. So we're going to talk about this because this is an issue. So we have these kind of challenges with where you have to complete it with a certain amount of HP. This is all pretty par of the course, but then we have something we've never seen before. Clearing the stage while you own Type 3 enhancement for, or Stage 3 type enhancement for Captain Marvel. So you're going to actually have to farm universal type enhancement kits and apply them specifically to Captain Marvel in order to get a whopping 800,000 gold. Okay, what mythicking her uniform gives you a 6-star ISO. I don't really think that's worth it. I think it should be an awakened ISO or a CTP. But okay, where's the other CTP? We got some other stuff here, not really too much to write home about. Another mythic Uru and a random extreme obelisk, no CTPs. But then we get down to the last one, Final Judgment, and here is where the value really comes in. So you get a random mythic card for getting Ronin's uniform to mythic, which I don't really think that's fair, or I don't really think that's a great deal. I would have rather had a selector, but this is what the majority of people are going to be purchasing the Legendary Battle for, the CTP of Regeneration. But in order to get that, you need Type 6, Stage 6 type enhancement on Captain Marvel. Now, if you don't know what that means, well, it means that you need to upgrade the character's type enhancement full to the absolute maximum. So, for example, on Thor, we're at stage 0, so you're going to need 64 of these to get to the next stage, and then you're going to need 2-star ones, and then 3-star, and then 4-star, and then 5-star, and then 6-star, all the way up to, yes, 6-star. And if you look at how much GBR I've played, and you've seen it on the channel, you can see how much I've accumulated for each ranking, and I've been very lucky. I've gotten 5 of these for 6 stars, but these are extremely rare items, and so if you don't invest a ton of boost points, and if you don't play GBR every single day, and especially if you don't play it on the days where it actually drops universal kits, because it doesn't drop universal kits every day, you're gonna be out of luck, and that basically means that it's gonna take you, I don't know, man, weeks, possibly months, if you don't invest real money into actually unlocking her Type 6 enhancement, because it can fail. We all know it can fail, and apparently the level 6 enhancement is only like a 12% chance to succeed. So we kind of reach a bit of a tricky situation. This is good in the sense that it requires that you build up the character fully, Captain Marvel, and it requires that you play a new game mode or a recent game mode, Giant Boss Raid. Additionally, the universal one is the least punishing because it's available on the most number of days. It's available on 4 different days. So that's not so... 3 or 4 different days. I think 4 different days. So that's not as bad. But this does open the door for future legendary battles to require other characters like a speed type or a blast type or a combat type. And that would be worse because those are less frequent. And of course, there are more types. We know, right, just off the bat, it doesn't... You know, it's obvious, but you have to say it. There are the fewest number of universal types compared to any other type of character, right? Every other character is in the 40s or 50s. Universal hasn't even cracked 40. So you will technically always have more universal enhancement kits than any other typing. So the rarity of them goes down, and you'll have more. You have an abundance. But if they do this in the future with other types, it will be very dicey, and it does imply to me that they're trying to push the sale of these type enhancement chests, and I don't like these type enhancement chests personally. It doesn't have any guarantee. It just says acquired 10 type kits. You don't even have a guarantee of 1 5-star. Additionally, even if you were to have a guarantee of at least 1 5-star type enhancement kit, there's no way to combine them. This is not like obelisks where you can combine 5-star ones up to 6-star. It's not like cards where you can combine a 4-star up to 5 or 6 stars. You don't have anything else to do with those extra kits. So you could end up, through purchasing with crystals or playing GBR, with a ton of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5-star type kits and none of the 6 types ones. So I don't want to belabor this point too much, but it is a bit of a red flag. It's a yellow flag on the play, and I wanted to point it out to you guys for those of you that are kind of really gung-ho to get that CTP of regeneration. It's not going to be cheap, or it's not going to be fast. You basically have to choose one or the other. It's going to take you a long ass time, or it's going to take you a lot of crystals purchasing those type enhancement chests when it rolls around to the day for the universal kit, because they're extremely rare, especially the 6-star variants. And from what I've experienced when speaking to people who have upgraded these, is that 6 is super painful, and that's where they put it. They should have probably put it at 5 personally. But anyways, moving on, let's go through the rest of the update. We're going to check out all 4 of the new uniforms because I've already observed some pretty cool things in at least 2 of them, and I have some questions that I can't really answer until I actually purchase the uniforms. So let's purchase them, let's get them equipped so that we can find out. And one of the questions I do have is about, yes, we know, 2-star rank up available. One of the questions I have is about Minerva's typing, whether, or not typing, but her damage type, whether it changes from... And there goes my 6,000 crystals. Whether it changes from physical damage to energy damage. So we're going to scroll down here and check her out in just a second. So it's physical. Okay, that's really good because I was worried it's physical when she doesn't have her uniform, and it stays physical when she equips her uniform, even though she has multiple skills now that deal, actually the majority of her skills deal energy damage. And this is important for ABX, and this is something that I pointed out on the live stream, because she's a universal villain, or excuse me, because I was wrong about universal, because she's a combat villain, she becomes a very real possibility to replace Apocalypse for Extreme Alliance Battle Day, for the Combat Villain Day. But on top of the fact is that Apocalypse is an energy attack character, but she is physical, so she benefits from both Beast's leadership, which is 50% physical attack if you have his uniform, as well as from the free-to-play perspective, or if you just don't want to spend crystals on Beast's uniform, you can also use Titania. You can also use Hulk with his old uniforms, or Lizard, but it is a valuable thing to realize because now you can take advantage of that physical attack, whereas Beast and Titania's leaderships both didn't apply, and there are 0 30 and up % energy attack leaderships in the combat class. The only all-attack leadership, or one of the only all-attack leaderships, is Apocalypse himself. So it basically completely bypasses Apocalypse, and without having tested her yet, because it's not the right day, and I don't have her completely maxed out, I think that there's a good chance, given the fact that she has level 70, given the fact she can go to gear 25, she has a uniform, she has crazy cool skills with iframes and, you know, really nice meta abilities, you know, penetration, all defense down. There's a very good chance that she will overtake him, so she is someone to focus on building if you are interested in Extreme Alliance battle in general. So that is the thing that I wanted to see the most from her uniform change, whether it did affect her attack value, changing it from physical to energy. It doesn't, which is great. The other big thing, let me actually favorite these characters so I can go back to them later. The other thing I wanted to point out is that with her uniform now, her third skill changes and it summons an illusion. And the illusion, if you guys haven't tested in the skill preview, go and test it before I spoil it. And pause the video, is Korath. So she actually summons Korath with her third skill. Very, very cool. Additionally, I wanted to check if Ronan is still a villain, and he is still a villain with his uniform, because they really belabored it on the Facebook live stream. He's not Ronan the Accuser, he's Ronan the Pursuer. So I was like, are they trying to drop hints? Is Alfonso dropping hints about Ronan's allegiance? Has he become a superhero for this uniform? But no, he has not. But my boy Ronan has gotten some crazy buffs, which are good, but they're not OP. So I'll just put it that way. But one of the biggest buffs and one of the biggest changes to Ronin with his uniform that I've noticed, which may make you reconsider purchasing it, is Creed Justice now gives him a flat 50% damage reduction, which is really good for his survivability. They also, with his uniform, changed his 4-star passive. Instead of applying a shield, it gives him super armor and all defense, which is very nice for PvE and PvP. Well, not so much PvP, but PvE. And then his 5th skill now has the charge up. Now the charge up mechanic, it works the same way as, and I'll go into the preview for it briefly, it works the same way as Hyperion's. As you charge up the skill, you get more effects. The good thing about the skill is that if you charge it up for just over 1 second, you get that buff right there, that frenzy buff, which gives you the all attack, all speed, crit rate, remove incapacitation. That's great. Here's the bad part. That max HP regeneration that's teased on the skill, well, let's see how long it takes. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it pops right there. Boom. There's the heal. I missed the click, but he has a heal. It's a 15% max HP heal. It takes 4 seconds for the heal to activate. No one's gonna sit there for 4 seconds and charge up this skill. The only way you're gonna be able to get this charge up off with the heal, it's right there, is if you get charmed. If the enemy gets charmed, if the enemy gets you know, mind controlled by Scarlet Witch, if you're playing World Boss, and you have 5 seconds to spare, because you're gonna need most of them anyways to charge up that goofy 5th skill. I really wish that they would change it so that it took a little bit less time, or that there was something else you could do, maybe move the character around. The only added benefit is that he also gets immunity at the very beginning, so you do have some protection, but against penetration skills you don't, so it's pretty worthless in PvP, so he basically doesn't have the heal. The other cool thing that they didn't show you from any of the previews is that his 2nd skill is a continuous beam skill. So look, mom, no hands. Ronin's got the Cyclops ability, the Blue Marvel, the Nova, the Anti-Man. He's got it. I was hoping that they would give it to Captain Marvel, but I'm not going to complain that they gave it to my boy Ronin, and I'm very excited to make content on Ronin in the future based on his buffs. I think he will pose a legitimate threat for PvE content. Not, of course, you know, fighting out with the bad guy, with the top kind of echelon characters, but definitely good enough to hold his own and not have to be carried by other characters. The other big uniform, of course, after Captain Marvel is Nick Fury. Now, Nick Fury's does have quite a few buffs to the uniform. There you are, buddy. So we do have to go through them. So we're going to just cover his base kit first because the changes are pretty important. So if we look here, all allies as a tier 2 passive with his base uniform is super armor, 30% all defense, and 50% increased damage to supervillains, which is nice. And then he gives himself the debuff, and he has the 50% all attack leadership. If we go ahead and we equip that uniform, we can see some changes. So now he also gives all allies immunity to incapacitation effects, which is an important additional buff that a lot of strong PvP characters like Strife have on most of his skills. Also, it increases that buff from 50 to 55%. Is that a huge deal? I don't know, but it is a buff that we do need to point out. Additionally, he has some changes to his skills with his uniform that I actually think are worse. So I'll let you guys find out what they are. I mean, in terms of actually seeing them, but I'll just tell you verbally what I saw. His 3rd skill iframe is a lot shorter with this uniform for some reason, so that technically means he has less survivability. And it appears that otherwise they copied and pasted a lot of the effects from skills 1, 2, 4, and 5. Now, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying that it seems as though there isn't much of a positive actually playing as Nick Fury when you have his uniform. Of course, the biggest positive with any uniform, once you get it to Mythic, is all of those upgrade uniform stats that you get in terms of the bonuses to individuals like physical attack, HP, recovery, or recovery rate, I guess, ignore defense, skill cooldown. But additionally, you do have the uniform effect and, of course, the percentage, the 15% all attack, all defense, going all the way up to 25% all attack, all defense. Additionally, for any of you guys that are playing as Nick Fury, whether you have him with or without the uniform, you can immediately cancel his 5th skill and still obtain all of the effects for him. Or you can immediately cancel his 5th skill by switching, once you cast it, by switching to another character, and they will benefit from that bubble, like Ancient One's bubble, Anti-Venom's heal, I guess, and a bunch of other characters, even Sharon Rogers' tier 3 skill. So all allies in the bubble will receive that damage immunity for the duration of the skill. I believe it's about 3 to 4 seconds. So that's a nice additional piece of support for Nick Fury with or without the uniform. The last character with the change that I want to talk about for the uniforms is Captain Marvel. And the biggest change I've noticed, well, two of the biggest changes I noticed are that her fourth skill no longer has immunity, but it now has ignore targeting. And this is a huge thing that they completely dodged from all of the previews. Ignore targeting means ignore iframe. So if another character is iframing, Captain Marvel can always hit them with her fourth skill, and her fourth skill appears to do the most damage of all of her skills besides her tier 3 skill. If you notice, it's also on a 14-second cooldown, which means that it's perfect timing for a proc every 7 seconds if you have 50% skill cooldown. So that is a big deal. Her best skill has the best effect in the game, ignore iframe. That's pretty bananas, and that does make her a legitimate threat for both PvE and PvP, because we know how good Nova was for the longest time just because of that pesky 2 skill, and that wasn't even his best skill in terms of damage. It might have been his 5 or his 3. So it's really scary to consider Captain Marvel fully maxed out, tier 3, popping her 4th skill off and one-shotting characters who literally cannot hide from her, especially if she has penetration on top of that ignore iframe. The other big change that she did see is that absorb energy, the passive completely changed. So this is a much more PvE focused passive, super armor all defense. That all defense goes up to 42% with her tier 2 passive, increases the buff's effect, so keep that in mind. And she lost the absorption, so she doesn't get a damage. Well, it says absorb, but she just doesn't absorb damage. She used to absorb damage with her old kit, and then she would get a buff. The buff was only equal to 20%, up to 20% all attack buff, so it's really not that impressive. And the cooldown time on Radiant form is the same, except it doesn't have the damage reduction. So that is something to look at. But instead, she gets a 10 guard hit for 10 seconds, which is pretty crazy. And that 10 guard hit for 10 seconds actually goes up to 12 guard hit for, I think, 13 seconds because of the duration bonus. So it's going to be really interesting. I think that Captain Marvel has potential to be a very unique character with quirky builds based on the Carol Core passive, which can be manipulated in different ways based on which CTP or which obelisk you're using, in addition to her binary form or radiant form, which creates even more enhanced effects of her skills. I didn't see different effects being added to the skills, but it does deal more damage. And with all of the iframes, I mean, she has partial iframes or full iframes on every other skill, on skills 1, 2, 3, and 4. So with all of that, it's going to be very interesting to see how powerful she is, but she doesn't have any invincibility and she doesn't have any immunity. So she is kind of at the mercy of characters who penetrate, or not that it's at the mercy of them, but it's just interesting to me that it won't really matter whether she's facing a character with immunity penetration or invincibility penetration or not, because she just doesn't have any. So would it be better to then just stack HP to make her tankier so she can try to absorb those hits and win out and kind of grind someone else out? Or should we just build her as a glass cannon and hope that she gets the first hit in because of the fact that she has ignore iframe? So I'm gonna have to watch this character very carefully, but I wanted to kind of inject all of that new information to you guys, both the positive stuff about the uniforms and the new characters, which I think are both very cool, and I think Minerva and Korath are both going to factor into some meta gameplay, either with ABX or with other game modes, in addition to some of the stuff that I think is a little bit less, you know, positive for the community in terms of how I think some people are going to receive the legendary battle. Now, the one big piece of information that I don't yet have is the exact stats and wording on CTPs of regeneration and CTPs of rage, because I don't have any, and I'm not going to be gambling crystals away trying to pull them randomly from the chests. So I do want to enlist a little bit of help from you guys. If you happen to find anyone that has one, and you can see the stats either by finding them through the character ranking page, because you will be able to see their you know, CTPs there if you just go to them and you hover over them, and then if on the off chance that they have one, you would be able to see it if they've already equipped it, or if someone messages you and tells you, I got a CTP of rage or a CTP of regeneration from the custom gear chest when I was rolling for CTPs of energy. Hit me up with that on Discord, which I'll provide a link to in the description. Sorry I didn't do that in the last video. Or hit me up on Twitter for that. I got a lot more content to push out to you guys, but I wanted to get this out there to give you my first reactions to the new characters and the new uniforms and the new legendary game mode. Also to give you some new information that's coming out and also the community's reaction to it so that you have a more informed opinion about this update. Let me know what you think of Captain Marvel. Let me know what you want to see next. And of course, if you like what you see, I hope to see you again tomorrow. Take care.